around. Now we have the whole NFC to do.
Yeah, but that's okay because the NFC is awesome, and I'm very excited to talk about the best division ever, being the NFC South. So yeah, that's going to be exciting.
Okay, go.
Yeah. So the NFC South is always a silly, goofy division just because of it being so mediocre. Very apples and oranges from the AFC North, and really a lot of the Anyway, so I mean, I don't even know where to start with this. I'm going 1-4 just because it's easier. Tampa Bay is going to win the division, and I think their team is decent. I think that they honestly, this might come as a very, very controversial, but I was talking with a couple of friends about it, one friend in particular, and this Tampa Bay team could actually be very sneaky. I mean, this team has had some very good playoff runs. Once they get in, they always make some sort of noise, and I don't see them slowing down. Chris Godwin's coming back at some point in the next couple of weeks from his season-ending injury from last year. He'll be coming back. That offense is just going to be dominant once he comes back. Baker Mayfield, once again, looks like he's just slinging it out there, and I think the defense is bumped up. I honestly think that if a couple of right things go their way, we could see Tampa Bay making a deep run this year. And they're a fun team to always root for, especially now with Easy Bake Oven at center. But I have Tampa Bay winning this division. But I have a very interesting concept here, though, because although Tampa Bay is going to be good, I honestly think that the Carolina Panthers are going to be also kind of just milling around here in second. And I know that a lot of people are saying that, Carolina is just not some team to really be thinking about. But I think Carolina showed a lot of hope last year. And I think that Carolina might be one of those teams that like halfway, like towards the end of the season, where you kind of see them in the hunt playoff spot on the side, because they're kind of still in fighting for the division. But it's like, if Tampa Bay wins the division, they get eliminated. Like, there's no way for them to get a wild card type thing. Because we see that all the time with like some teams where they're like, oh yeah, they have like a chance to make playoffs, but it's really depending on the divisions and stuff. And if they win, I think Carolina is going to be that one team. I don't consider them an outside three, but I consider them a team that's kind of like all over the place in terms of just productivity. I think, like I said, I put here Panthers will finish second in NFC South, but because that division is dookie, they will not be an outside three, because the only way they'd make it in is if they won the division. The Falcons will play quarterback carousel this year, promoting a lower finish than expected. Saints will be lucky to have 3 wins. So I have the Falcons at third. I have the Falcons at third, which makes sense because they still have a lot of uncertainty with the quarter. Like, I mean, I know they're going to run with Penix, but I still wonder how that whole thing's going to go. I think the Falcons will be okay, but I don't think they're going to make that jump to second. I still think it's going to be Carolina. I love Chuba Hubbard. I think the wide receiver room is looking a little bit stronger than it did, despite losing Thielen. It's fine. I think it's going to be a little bit better. Like I said, I don't think it's like Tampa Bay level, but I think it's going to be fine. And then New Orleans, I don't really want to talk about them, but like I said, they'll be lucky to have 3 wins.
Yeah, the Saints aren't going to be good. I think I've roasted both of their quarterbacks at various points. I believe I called Tyler Shuck the most overrated draft prospect this year. So
Right.
New head coach, like, just nothing's really looking up for them. Chris Olave, is good, but is he going to stay healthy? So Saints last.
Probably not.
I'm going to put Panthers third. Bryce Young finished strong last year, but does he do that again? Does this team come out? Does Xavier Legette take his next step that he needs to? Where does this? There's just too many question marks. I really like the Falcons. I think the Falcons, I don't know. Michael Penix Jr., I think he could, surprise you. They got Jesse Bates on defense still. That defense didn't do as well as I thought they would last year, but they still did okay. Drake London, Kyle Pitts. It could be Kyle Pitts' year. I think the Falcons could get second. I think you're sleeping on Penix a little bit there. I feel more comfortable betting on Penix than I do on Bryce Young at this point. So
That's fair. I mean, like I
That's
said,
kind of
I'm higher on Bryce than I am Michael Penix, but maybe I just haven't seen enough of Penix to
that's what
really.
it comes down to for me. Is like Penix versus Bryce Young, and then okay, Penix, and then I guess worst case scenario, if Penix absolutely just comes out and is dog water, you still have Kirk Cousins.
That's why I said quarterback carousel.
Well,
So.
that could happen, but I don't think it will. And then winning the division is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You got Mike Evans. You got Baker Mayfield. Chris Godwin's going to come back. They've got a good team. That offense is going to be fun. The defense, they've got some guys. Nothing too flashy, but enough to get it done. Got Antoine Winfield over there, so it could be. I believe he's still on the team. But you've got some Emeka Egbuka. Our friend Tito keeps saying that he's going to be a top 3 rookie this year. So,
oh yeah, that he's a receiver. Egbuka.
Yes, Egbuka, yes, Antoine Winfield. I don't know why I thought he might not have been on the team anymore, but he is still on the team. So Tampa Bay, they're winning the division. Next up, we have what used to be the worst division in sports, but is no longer because of the NFC South. The NFC East. The Dallas Cowboys, the New York Giants, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Washington Commanders. Well, let's start from the bottom here. Holy cow, man. What a ride to the bottom here for these teams. I am going to put hot take here. I'm going to put the Dallas Cowboys in last. Because, yeah, Jerry Jones said they need to stop the run. And it's true, Micah Parsons isn't great in the run game. But I don't really know how signing Kenny Clark does that for you long term. You lost your pass rush, and now you might not have a run defense either. Kenny Clark will do it for a few games, but he's older and he has an injury history. So then what are you going to do, Jerry? What's your plan after that? Their offense is I like Dak. I don't mind Dak. CeeDee Lamb's good. Jake Ferguson's good, but there's nothing too exciting. Javonte Williams is their starting running back. What are we doing in Dallas, Jerry? Come on. I think the Dallas sports fans have been through enough with the Luka trade and now the Micah trade, and now they got to watch this. This is going to be a mess. They're even going to lose to the New York Giants, who have been they've been a joke. But I think they'll manage to get third this year just because of how bad I think the Cowboys are going to be.
This is just I had myself muted, but I just needed to this is awesome. This is awesome.
You've got the New York Giants, Malik Neighbors. Didn't have a quarterback throwing to him last year. And now he's got Russell Wilson throwing to him, who I think we can agree is at least an upgrade over Daniel Jones. But Russell Wilson might not even start the whole year because they got Jackson Dart, who looked great in the preseason. He looked phenomenal. Yep. He made trading up for him worth it. Maybe the Steelers should have drafted him. But Jackson Dart, he comes in, I think this team is going to be at a very good place. And I've said it all offseason. This defense is underrated. They were underrated last year. They're going to be underrated again this year. I like this team. I think that the Giants are going in the right direction. Brian Daboll's kind of on the hot seat, so he's going to be desperate. He's going to be coaching these boys up, and they're going to win. But that's not going to be enough to overcome what we have in the rest of the division. We have two very polar opposites here. We got the Dallas Cowboys and the Giants. Then over here, we got the reigning Super Bowl champions and the reigning rookie of the year in Jaden Daniels. So I'm going to put the Washington Commanders in second. They're good. They're going to be fun. Jaden Daniels is going to be good. But Jaden Daniels started up here. Can he get back up here? I don't know. I think he's still going to be good, though. They've got a lot of good players that I'm excited for. Zach Ertz kind of concerns me because he's getting on that kind of, tipping point of is he going to, get hurt and end his career or what's going to happen. But that running back room, same thing with Austin Eckler. We don't know what's going to happen. They do have some nice rookies that they brought in, though. Terry McLaurin. I do like the Washington Commanders. I think they're going to do well again. But it's hard to bet against the reigning Super Bowl champions who have the reigning offensive player of the year in Saquon Barkley. Now, I'm not saying Saquon's going to repeat what he did last year, but there's just so much good on this team. This defense is just all studs. Zach Bond, Jalen Carter. You've got all three levels on defense are phenomenal. They have stars on each level of that. Then on offense, you have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts with his legs, Dallas Goedert. Like, it just, you could sit here and just list stars on the Eagles all day. They are going to win this division, but it'll be close with the Washington Commanders behind them, in my opinion. Chus, what say you?
You know, it's crazy looking at my predictions here as of August 20th because, man, I actually had the Cowboys as an outside 3 team. And I don't know if I can even commit to that anymore. I genuinely don't even know if I can commit to the Cowboys being an outside 3. I'm putting them also in 4th. I was gonna with Micah Parsons, this might have been a different story. I feel like going in a couple weeks ago, I was like, all right, yeah, this team is gonna be an outside team, like an 8 and 9 and stuff. But now you have like you got no pass rush. You just without Micah Parsons, it's just really weird. You're running back like you said, Javonte Williams, and then you have George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. Dak's got 2 decent wide receivers that he's going to be throwing to. But like, I don't understand. Like this Cowboys team is just, and they haven't been really that good the last couple of years, and they just don't seem indifference to the Giants. I don't feel like the Dallas Cowboys are going in the right direction. I mean, I think that they could still finish as an outside 3, but at this point, I think this will be the first on the fly change that I'm willing to make, and I'm going to do it right now. I think that I'm going to have the Giants in 3rd and as an outside 3. So I think that this Giants team is. I thought initially, I think this division is going to be absolutely bumping. I think that this division is going to be kind of like the NFC North, but the NFC North still exists, so that division's also going to be bumping. I think the NFC is just going to be bumping this year. I honestly think that I wouldn't be surprised if a 6 or 7 seed ends up just going crazy. So. But I think the Giants, we've talked about this before. Like, I think the defense was sneaky good last year. You mentioned it. I don't. They put on some really tight games. I remember like with the Steelers on primetime football, like the Giants really played tough, and that was with Daniel Jones. Like this team is like good, and then Malik Neighbors was producing good points and production last year with Daniel Jones. And imagine, like you said, what he's going to do with Russ. And even if Russ doesn't finish the season, you still got Jackson Dart. This defense is solid. Not very big on Tyrone Tracy, but who knows? We've got a young boy coming up too. So, but that being said, I have the Giants at 3rd. I think that they could genuinely be an outside 3 as well. But the problem is I think the NFC is way too stacked this year to even to see them possibly push for the playoffs. Me and you have very different perspectives on what's going to happen. I actually have the Eagles in 2nd. I think the Eagles are very, very good, but I think that the production that they had last year is going to kind of, dwindle a little bit. I mean, they lost. I mean, they still have some dogs on that team and stuff like that, but I don't think the magic is going to be as fluent this year. I think Washington, in my opinion, just arguably kind of looks like the better team. It's hard to repeat a Super Bowl. It's hard to repeat everything that they did last year. Last year, for the Philadelphia Eagles, it was magical. It just seems like unless like you're the Kansas City Chiefs or some of these other teams, it's very hard to repeat. You end up getting plagued with injuries. You get a lot of things going in the wrong direction. I still think the Eagles are going to make playoffs. I do. I think they're still going to probably cause a lot of noise. I wouldn't even be surprised as a wild card team that they would go on to the NFC Championship again. I wouldn't be shocked, but I think it's going to be a very tough road for them to win this division because they have a lot of very good competitive teams in this division. They lost a couple of guys on defense. I mean, their offense is still going to be unbelievable, but yeah, I just think that this team's just going to fall just a little short to Washington, but not by much, because I think that this is going to be one of those things like we saw last year with the NFC North, where it's going to be a situation where the Vikings are, or not the Vikings, that's NFC North, but it's going to be like where Washington's going to have like 13 or so wins, and we're going to see Philadelphia have like 11 or 12. So I think it's going to be really close, and I think it's going to be very like high-powered NFC division here, but I think that Philadelphia will finish in second with double-digit wins, but Washington will ultimately prevail. I love Jaden Daniels. I love what he's doing. I think that team is so good. I think it is so fun to watch, and I am so excited to watch the Washington Commanders actually produce some good football. And I think the Eagles will finish in second. This is one of those divisions, though. It's an exciting, fun division. So
It is. It is. Chus, why don't you talk about the NFC West?
Okay, yeah. So the NFC West is kind of weird just because I feel like there's a lot of decent teams possibly, but a couple that I'm just really not sold on. And the one team that I'm very much not sold on is the Seattle Seahawks. And you lose Geno Smith, you lose DK Metcalf, you're running with Sam Darnold, you have Cooper Kupp now, but it just doesn't feel like this team is moving in. It's moving in a different direction than I was anticipating. Yes, you have Kenneth Walker, and you still got Zach Charbonnet like in the backfield in case Kenneth Walker gets hurt. You're still going to utilize some of the players that you have with Lockett, or not Lockett, but point being is you're still going to have some good players that aren't. I don't know. They're not money makers, but they're definitely. I forgot that I tend to forget that Tyler Lockett's also not on that team anymore. So it's just Smith Najigba and Cooper Kupp and Sam Darnold. We have to really hope that he produces the same magic that he had with the Minnesota Vikings, which is also very much questionable. And so I'm putting the Seattle Seahawks at 4. And so with that being said, moving forward, I'm putting the Cardinals at 3. I think that that's a safe bet. I think that with the Cardinals, I think that they have some weapons on offense. They have some weapons on defense. I think that honestly, they're in better shape, in my opinion, than Seattle is. Seattle this season has a lot of uncertainty. Like I said, I don't think the Seattle Seahawks are going to finish horrible, but I don't think that they're going to have like more than 7 wins. I feel like that's being very generous. I feel like they're going to probably have more 5 or 6. I'm just not sold on Sam Darnold. I think the Vikings are a very good team, and I just think that with the team that he has around him in Seattle, I just don't see it. But going forward, I think Arizona showed a little bit last year that they can possibly run with the big group, and with Marvin Harrison and with James Conner still in the backfield, Kyler Murray. This could be a big season for him, breaking out as possibly a decent quarterback. I have them as an outside 3, but I think they're kind of on a far outside 3 because I just think that this NFC is just unbelievably stacked. So I think the Cardinals are going to be an outside 3, but I think they're going to be a long shot, like a 7-10, 8-9 type team. It's probably not going to do it, but I can see the hype around them, more or less. Going second, I have the San Francisco 49ers. I feel like they're a team that's just been kind of, I don't know. They've just been, although they've got Christian McCaffrey and they got they've got Brock Purdy and a couple other key weapons on defense as well. George Kittle's getting older. They don't have Debo anymore. He's in Washington now. They have they only are running with Ayuk, who I think is hurt or battling some sort of injury. There's just a lot happening over in San Francisco. It's really hard for me to really put them as a top argument for this division, just because I think the Rams are in a better position. I do. I think that the Rams are going to win this division. I think that Matt Stafford's coming in, although he's older, he's a top vet. He's won a Super Bowl. He knows what he's doing. Although he lost Cooper Kupp, he's still got Puka Nacua. They've got crazy running backs in the backfield now. They've got way too many now that we don't even know what they're going to do with. And despite losing Aaron Donald to retirement a few seasons back, their defense is still looking pretty solid. And they made a lot of noise last year. In fact, they were the only team to really give Philadelphia in the playoffs a really big run. I actually thought at one point that the Rams were going to win. And a lot of those players are returning. A lot of those players, other than, like I said, Cooper Kupp, they're returning going into the season. I think that the Rams are going to be the one on top. And San Francisco, I don't have them as an outside 3, but I actually have them making playoffs at the end. But I'm just not sold on the 49ers winning this division. I'm just not. And I don't, like I said, I don't think the Cardinals are going to make a big enough push to even warrant it. And I would be very shocked if we're talking about the Seattle Seahawks winning the division come December. If that happens, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say.
Well, I happen to have the Seattle Seahawks winning the no. So
If you did, that's crazy. But I mean, it's sad though too, because like I said at the beginning, I don't know if you caught me, but I said Tyler Lockett, and I tend to forget that he's also not on that team anymore.
he's not on that team anymore.
It's really sad. That Seattle Seahawks team is just like, I don't know.
Getting
We'll
old.
see. I guess it's getting old.
So I'm gonna put. Sorry, Joe Como. I'm gonna put the Cardinals. Sorry, Silver Wolf AZ, fan of the show, big fan of you, but I gotta put the Cardinals in last. And here is, I like the team. I like a lot of what they've done. There are some former Bengals on that team, but Chus, one of your points with the Cardinals was Kyler Murray could have a breakout season. I think Kyler Murray's kind of what he is at this point. I mean, he's been in the league since, I believe he's a 2019 rookie, and we're talking about him having a breakout season in 2025.
I mean, okay, but you're acting like Geno Smith and some of these other quarterbacks haven't had breakout seasons like 6 or 7 seasons.
I know, but I don't see it. I don't see it with Kyler Murray. Fine. I like the team. I like the fans, but I just don't see. I don't think they've done enough yet. Maybe I'm wrong. They have players that I like too. They just aren't there yet for me. Next up, I'm actually going to put the 49ers. And here's my reasoning. They don't have Debo anymore. Brandon Ayuk is out till mid-October, I believe. You then have Ricky Purcell, who I liked, and Jawan Jennings are your wide receiver 1 and 2, presumably. And then you have George Kittle, who you mentioned has struggled with injury in the past. I love George Kittle. Big George Kittle guy. Trent Williams. He's getting older. Still a phenomenal left tackle. I'd say best in the league. But he's getting older. Could have some injury there. We're also kind of getting to the point now where we're going to learn a lot about Brock Purdy. Was Brock Purdy's contract worth it, or does he kind of need the Avengers around him to help him carry this team? I love Christian McCaffrey too, but he's getting older. He had a really weird season last year when it came to injuries. So I don't see the 49ers getting it done. I think they're going to have a lot of weaknesses exposed. But that being said, Kyle Shanahan, he's an offensive guru. Maybe he comes up with something. I'm not seeing it. The Seattle Seahawks. Now, their offense is super underwhelming, like you kind of alluded to, but I think their defense is a lot better than people give it credit for. They've got a lot of nice players on there. Leonard Williams, who's older but has always been good. Byron Murphy. You got DeMarcus Lawrence is still on that team. Ernest Jones did pretty good last year, and Devon Witherspoon, who I really like. He is someone who I think could, kind of help out on that defense, take another step this year. And, Sam Darnold, he looked good last year. He learned a lot from Kevin O'Connell. And also, if Sam Darnold doesn't maybe do it, they do have Jalen Milroe. We could see that happen. I know he's third on the depth chart, but I think that he could jump Drew Lock for that start. We'll see what happens with all that. I do think the Seahawks, though, could get second. It's not going to – I don't have them in the playoffs, but I do think they could get second in this division. Or I don't think I have them in the playoffs. We'll find out when I do those off the top of my head. But right now I'm saying they're not in the playoffs. I like the LA Rams a lot. I do think they're going to win the division. Yes, Matthew Stafford's had some injury issues, but it sounds like they're past that, I guess. I like Kyron Williams. They added Devontae Adams. Puka, you got him. But the defense is really the star of the show when it comes to Los Angeles. They got Braden Fisk, who I loved in the combine 2 years ago. Kobe Turner has just been awesome for them as well. And then you get down to like their interior defensive line, and it's just, Kobe Turner, Poona Ford has been great for them in there. Byron Young, Jared Verse, like it just keeps getting better. That those linebackers and that whole defensive line is just amazing. I think that the Los Angeles Rams have this pretty handedly when it comes to the division. That was a lot of talking. Also, I muted my I muted my mic on StreamYard, but I don't know if it muted it on Spotify. So if the Spotify listeners heard me yell "mom," that's because my mom has been wanting to come in here while we're recording and grab something. So that was sorry, Spotify listeners. That's on me. Anyway, but if it didn't happen, you have no idea what I'm talking about, and so just ignore it. But finally, let's move on. It's been an hour and a half to the division, the creme de la creme of the NFC. The NFC
Or
North.
so we think.
Or so we think. That's right. So I'm going to, let's see. Okay. Bears, you're going fourth. First year head coach, Ben Johnson. I think he'll do great things. I like Ben Johnson. I like Colston Loveland. I think they've added some great pieces, but this division is just not a division that you turn it around in 1 year. This is an insane division right now, especially with the fact that the Packers went and added Micah Parsons. And a week ago, I would have told you that the Packers were going to be third in this division pretty handedly. But now I think that it could be between the Vikings and the Packers. I'm actually going to put the Vikings at third. And I don't think they're going to be a bad team. So Vikings fans, don't get mad at me. I think they're still going to be a very good team. Still think they're going to make the playoffs. But JJ McCarthy, he's an unknown. I think he could be very good. But Jordan Addison being suspended for those first 3 games could cause you to drop some games early. And that could honestly be the difference between the Packers and the Vikings in this, kind of ranking system. 1 game could be the difference. Half a game could be the difference. We'll see what happens. But I do think the Vikings will get third. Very good team still, though. There's nothing I have to say bad about them other than just JJ McCarthy being an unknown. And then, okay, we're moving to Packers being second, obviously. Micah Parsons being added. That's the X factor for me. They were a playoff team last year. They were a very good team last year. And now they've added Micah Parsons. I do have some concerns about their wide receiver room. That's been a consistent thing, though, for the last few years. So, I mean, they've gotten it done with those questions looming. That's not a new thing. So we'll see what the Packers can do with their wide receivers, what they've got with their tight end. But Micah Parsons is that X factor, and that is what has me putting them over the Vikings. Okay, next up, the Detroit Lions first. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, well, they lost Aaron Glenn. They lost Ben Johnson. Okay, yeah, that happens when you have a good team. Guess who's still there? MCDC, Motor City Dan Campbell. He's going to get those boys going. Jared Goff is still the starting quarterback. You've still got David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. You got Sonic and Knuckles in the backfield. This defense is great. You got Aiden Hutchinson coming back off injury, looking for a new contract, and he is hungry. He has something to prove because some people might have forgotten about it. And he's going to remind them very quickly who he is. They also had a phenomenal draft. They had a lot of guys I really liked. Isaac Tesla was really the only pick that they had that I was kind of like, that's a little weird. They already have a ton of wide receivers, but they cleared out their wide receiver room and made some room for him. I'm excited for him. I'm excited for Tate Ratledge. I think that they made some great pickups. I think Detroit Lions kind of shushed the doubters pretty early on about the coordinators moving, and they are able to win this division and maybe even the conference. Ben Johnson may have left, but his ideas are still in the building. So, Chus, what are your thoughts on that division?
Yeah, it's for me, it's pretty similar to what we were talking about, or what you were talking about, I guess I should say. I have the Bears in fourth. I think that although Caleb Williams and a lot of the team showed some signs of promise last year, some sort of signs of improvement, I just don't think that this is going to be the year, especially as you mentioned with this division, where they're going to make some sort of magnificent breakthrough of making it to third, second, or even close to first place. I, much like yourself, really like Loveland. I'm very excited to see what he does for this Chicago Bears team, but I don't think that his presence among their other rookies are going to be enough to really push them ahead. So I have them at fourth, and very much similar to you, I have the Vikings in third. Once again, as you mentioned, I don't think that the team's going to be bad, but I'm very unsure of how JJ McCarthy is going to perform. We saw how Sam Darnold did, and we can probably assume that JJ McCarthy will be just fine. But we don't really know. We really don't. I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty going into it. I put them at a safe bet. Just they're going to go 500. They'll be 9-8, but I have them as an outside 3. I don't think they're going to make playoffs. Like you said, Jordan Addison not being in that playing field for the first 3 weeks, relying on Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson might be a little different than what you're used to. And then when Jordan Addison does come back into it, they do have 3 pretty top wide receivers for JJ McCarthy to throw to. But I don't think we're going to see the same production that we saw last year, the same magic that we saw with the Vikings. It's just hard for me to really fathom that, more or less. Like I said, I think they're going to be good, but I think that this year is going to be an off year for them. I think that this year is going to be one of those years where it's like, well, 9-8, 8-9, whatever, 10-7, not make playoffs, whatever the case may be. I think that for them, it's just going to be one of those things where they are just going to have one down year, and then I think they'll be back in this conversation come next year. So just so JJ McCarthy can get his feet wet. Second, going with the Packers as well, but I think that race is going to be close. Adding Micah Parsons is a very good addition. I think that that's going to really help the Packers, and I think that that's going to make them a very big threat, but I don't think that they're going to threat out the Lions. I think that the Lions are going to very much win the division. I think, though, that much like our East friends, I think that the North is going to be much of a bloodbath with multiple teams with double-digit wins. I mean, I don't know how the actual layout goes. I feel like there's going to be a lot of drop-off teams in the NFC, where I think that there's going to be a lot of heavy hitters, where I think the AFC is going to be very balanced. I think there are going to be a lot of strong teams, but I think the NFC is going to have very similar to what we saw last year, where it's like, oh yeah, 16-1, and then 14-3 makes the playoffs as a 5 seed, and you're going to see a lot of heavy hitters this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same thing. I think the Packers were decent last year. I think that they made some upgrades, and I think that their wide receiver that they drafted is going to have possibly a breakout year, despite them already having a crap ton of wide receivers. It's going to be a pretty interesting wide receiver room for them to use around. So I put the Packers at 2, and then I put the Detroit Lions at number 1. But I think this division is very sneaky. I think the Vikings could kind of sneak themselves into a playoff spot, despite me having them as an outside 3. But that was also under the circumstances that the 49ers may sneak in. And I know you're not high on the 49ers, but I just feel like that this might be the last year that they sneak in before they completely fall off. I think next year they're going to completely fall off.
Okay. So my 3 outside 3 teams on seventh place, I have the Minnesota Vikings. In second place, I have the Green Bay Packers. Or in 6th place, whatever in fifth place, I have the Washington Commanders.
Right.
In 4th place, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay. You with me?
Okay.
Yeah, in 3rd place, I have the LA Rams.
Okay.
In 2nd place, the reigning Super Bowl champion, Philadelphia Eagles. And in 1st place, the Detroit Lions.
Okay.
Those are my picks.
All right.
I don't even know if they can happen schedule-wise, but those are my picks.
Yeah, it could. It very well could. So these are my picks going into it. Don't know if, like I said, if it'll happen, but somebody can yell at me in the comments about it. Outside 3, meaning the 3 that I think in my definition for outside 3, I'm doing it as 3 teams that I think are going to compete, but aren't going to make playoffs for a variety of different reasons. I think it's going to be Cardinals, Vikings, Giants. I think that those are going to be the last 3 teams that you see on your screen on week 18. And maybe Carolina I mean, I guess because Tampa Bay may not clinch until week 18. So you may have Carolina thrown on there. But okay, 7. I have San Francisco for the standard. And then I have, shockingly enough, I actually have the Philadelphia Eagles at 6. I do. But this is also on the basis that I have like I have 5, 6, 1, 2, and 3 with like double digit records. Like you have to consider like it's a thick. I'm imagining that this NFC is just going to be gross. Like you're just going to be like, wow, this is just unbelievable. What I am watching something beautiful. So I had the Eagles at 6, but I honestly think that that's why I said if they're a lower seed wildcard team that they could make some noise. And then at 5, I have the Green Bay Packers. Number 4, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then number 3, I have the Los Angeles Rams. I have the Lions at number 2, with the Commanders finishing in first in the conference this season. So I really think that if the Eagles are competing with the Commanders, I think what's going to end up throwing them off is if they're like, 2 or 3 wins behind or whatever the Commanders end up finishing. I think that's why it's going to push them down a little bit because I think the Packers are going to be – I really think that this is going to be a very interesting possible season where I honestly think that the Eagles could probably finish in 5th, probably not 6th. I'm just going to roll with 6 for now. I don't want any Eagles fans to come at my throat. I don't think that the Eagles are bad. I don't think that they're actually a deserving of a 6th place wild card. I actually think that 5 or 6, being Green Bay or the Philadelphia Eagles, could probably go on to the divisional or NFC championship if they stay hot. I mean, you look at the Eagles going up against the Rams. That's the only team that they struggled with, but they were able to beat them. And then the Packers have to go to Tampa, which once again, Tampa Bay is a kind of a sneaky, very good team, but so is Green Bay. It could be easy upsets for them, easy money going in. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna jump the gun here yet. I think the NFC is very interesting to watch. Not that the AFC isn't, but I think that the NFC could have some mystery players, some mystery teams making it in. Whereas the AFC, I feel like that's pretty cut and dry.
All right. So those are our picks for the year. Chus, do you have anything else you'd like to add that you haven't said in this hour and a half?
No, I ranted at the beginning and I finished off my predictions to finalize today's show. So it makes up for missing out last week, I guess. So.
Okay. Hour and a half. Thank you for sticking with us. If you're still here, I'm going to break these up and put them on YouTube in shorter clips. But we appreciate you sticking with us for this entire show. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know your picks down below in the comments section. Be nice to each other. Make sure you check out the merch as well. We have had some people purchase some merch, so I appreciate all of you. That support goes a long way. And until next time, go do something nice for someone.